All right, guys, we're in the gym today. We're gonna do some deadlifts, some back workouts, some arm workouts, some squats, a bit of accessories. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about what your return on investment is. ROI. Maybe you heard this term in a financial setting or in a bank, or maybe from your accountant. I don't know what your financial situation is, but in terms of fitness, return on investment can mean something like, what's your return on curling 100 pounds? What's the risk involved too? Because the more factors are involved, the more risky these types of movements can be, right? So if you're, I don't know if you guys have seen these videos of people breaking and popping and tearing tendons and biceps and chests and all kinds of shit. It's because a lot of these movements are pretty risky. And if you don't have a strong foundation built, you can get hurt, man. That's why it's important to talk about these topics, because you see people trying to, do these movements and not understanding the return on investment on a particular movement might not be worth the risk involved. You know, for example, I see these people right now. I'm looking at this guy. I don't want to turn the camera, but he's doing these curls and he's moving his whole body as he's curling. All right. First of all, if you have to move your entire body to perform the movement, maybe it's a little bit too heavy for you. You know, if you have to use an apparatus, for example, you see these people with these chest straps and to help them keep, their arms in place. Maybe the weight is a little bit too heavy for you, and it's okay to just do 20s. For example, right here is a 20-pound dumbbell that I'm going to be curling, because I value muscle engagement more than I do how much weight I can do. And this is how you're able to separate the veterans from beginners at the gym. People who are just focused on targeting these glamour muscles, your arms. Like, there's another guy in here. I don't want to turn the camera. This guy's arms are bigger than his thighs. Okay, do you understand what that looks like? It looks like SpongeBob. You ever seen that episode where he has these inflatable arms? Well, that's what it looks like, all right? Because that guy's priorities are not what they should be. Return on investment. Ask yourself, is it worth it? Do I have the foundations, the basics mastered? And if you don't, you should go back to the drawing board and build that foundation. Stop with the ego lifting and focus on muscle engagement, hypertrophy, progressively overloading. So that then you can get yourself to that point where if you want to curl 100 and whatever pounds, you can do it without getting hurt. I'm gonna give you guys a brief demonstration of what I meant by rocking back and forth. I don't know if you guys can see me that well. Let me back up a little bit. This is what I saw this other guy doing, all right? Something like this. Like, using his body weight to kind of like, if you have to do this kind of shit, it's too heavy for you, all right? That's not good. You're gonna hurt yourself. That's exactly how you pop muscles, how you tear muscles, tendons, all right? Pick up a weight you can do. Stop with the ego lifting, all right? This is how it should look. Slow, controlled, tight at the top. See, I'm not shaking. I'm chilling. I'm good. I could do 25 of these, all right? And I'll get better muscle engagement doing these than getting something very heavy and shaking my, because first of all, if you have to use your body weight, you're not engaging the muscle properly anyways, all right? The muscle engagement when you do this kind of shit is a lot less than if you do a lighter weight, slow and controlled movements like that. Boom. Here's an example of the other side. All right, here we go. Easy. Look, do this. No need for. All right, because that's how you tear muscles. The concept is the same with any movement, whether it's deadlifting, curls. If you have to use your body to move the weight, it is too heavy. If you have to compensate using your body weight, it is too heavy for you. But right now I weigh about 215-ish. This is 225, which is should be relatively easy for me to lift, and it is. So I'm gonna show you an example of what's relatively heavyweight and how I move this with efficiency, with full muscle engagement versus arching my back and using other, you see people that will get the bar up to the tops of their knees and then kind of do this kind of weird jerky movement to move the weight up and get that when you're at this position to the erect position. That's not the proper form when you're doing deadlifts. That's how you get hurt. This is what the movement should look like. First of all, this is your base right here. You should be able to hold this position like this all fucking day, all right? Straight up, look up. I got, there you go, easy. Now this I could do 25 times too, without a fucking problem. Now we're crossing the territory into heavy. All right. Based on this set, I'll let you know if I'm going to go any heavier than this. Today's just an accessory slash double up day. There's certain things I don't need to do, but for the purpose of demonstration, I might just do. We'll see. All right. Because I've done heavier than this. I don't got nothing to prove to you, and you don't have anything to prove to me. We'll see. All right. Here we go. Here's the thing, if you don't have a good launching off position, all of it's fucked. So I have to make sure it's like perfectly aligned before I get in position and do this shit. Because if I'm up here and let's say for example the ground is not level, when you get into like super heavy weight, these little details matter. Right? You're gonna feel the ground is off by a little bit, and that's gonna make you fuck up. And when you're dealing with that kind of weight, these little deviations can lead to an injury. Which is why it's imperative. Pretty sure a lot of power lifters and people that are in this kind of sport know what I mean. When you do these kinds of weights, it has to be impeccable. It has to be perfect. Because one slight deviation can cause an injury, right? You can slip a disc, pull a muscle. This is the kind of shit that happens at higher levels. And even then, what I can do is not that, I mean, relatively speaking it is, but to people that compete, it's not that much. Enough yapping, and let's lift some weights. By the way, I'm doing double underhooks. My hands are like this, underneath the bar. I'm not doing a corkscrew grip with these. And the next set, I'm gonna have to probably do corkscrew. My grip strength isn't right now optimal. Here we go, baby. It's important to keep the weight slow and controlled even at higher weight. Whether it's 500 pounds, whether it's 135 pounds, you got to make sure that the movement is consistent throughout. No slamming weights, none of this other bullshit, no yelling, no grunting, all right? None of the fiascos, none of the gimmicks, just lifting weights. When you look in the mirror and you start to notice that your biceps are bigger than your thighs, you got to do more squats. You got to do more quad extensions. You got to do more hamstring curls. All right, there's a few examples in this very gym right now. But for the sake of privacy, I'm not going to say names, all right? So this is a hamstring curl machine. There's other ways you can do this movement. There's a cable version directly behind me, but it's currently in use, no big deal. And all we have to do is just curl this 45 pounds that I added here, very easy. Here we go. Slow and controlled movements, as with anything. Focusing on that mind-muscle connection, really squeezing and extending. Slow and controlled movements. So 12 to 15. I'm gonna increase the weight on this, but I'm also gonna do other stuff too. So I'm gonna do about 3 sets of these and then move on. Ready to squeeze these last two. One, two. Easy. Gonna add 25 to this.